Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about I'm the Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire, Season 1, Episode 10. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we start off with a guy trying to feed off some negative energy out there in the worlds actually, and it's a woman trying to get like a mango thing. It kind of like it's like a mango flavored, I think, like croissant, or maybe it's stuff with like mango flavoring, whatever the case may be. People in front of her kept buying more and more, and just when she was about to leave, and you got the guide being like, oh my god, this is so amazing, the fact is, like, I'm gobbling up all this tasty negative energy, but then it turns out a new batch comes up and she's like, yay, and she's happy. So, and he's like, damn it, I didn't stay on it long enough. So I'm wondering, does he need to feed negative energy into a situation for things to continue spiraling out into a negative way? Or because he made it seem like I took my eye off the ball. Like, if I don't focus on the negative aspects of something, the positivity bleeds in, which is so interesting. Because I guess his reasoning for like the Liam thing is, even though he's not always watching it, he at least has some form of an eye, or at least he's perpetually putting like negative energy towards that, which it can't be how it works, considering every time he pops in on Liam, he's like, why are you so happy? Why are things going your way? I mean, maybe it just was simply like, oh, I got my hopes up and I didn't wait long enough I immediately was like, oh, something bad's going to happen. And it did, but it immediately got rectified. It's like, I should have just kept my patience about it. Just like, oh, well, that's dessert. Liam, that's the main course. It's like, here you are, you're charging against Goaz and his pirates. I was like, oh, I can't wait for them to take you as his toy, yada, 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 because obviously they've only got like a 3.8% chance of victory. Hell, even Brian's like, we shouldn't be doing this, but Amagi's like, yes, we only have a 3.8% of winning, but looking at Goaz's like past, every time someone surrenders, he destroys a planet. Once again, we saw what he did with Christianos. I even made that point, like, I don't remember if that was, yeah, it was last episode, I believe, the whole point of, oh, we should just surrender and who knows what's going to, but it's like, no, like, he destroyed Christiano's home after they already surrendered. So like, he's not the type. And Amagi's like, yeah, looking at records, he's done that over and over again. So it's enough of a pattern to be like, we can't trust him. So rather go with that 3.8% versus the 0%. But obviously, it's kind of things at first are a little bit of a standstill for like 3 days, because they're like, all right, trying to like check things out. And obviously, Liam's getting bored waiting for those 3 days. But Goaz like ends up making his move. He sends in like soldiers who were defeated by them that they kind of took in and made lower ranked people. Like, you have to serve us, because if you don't, we're going to kill you. And now they're being used as sacrificial lambs to destroy Liam's formation. And Liam took offense to that, especially later on when Goaz and his people went on the offensive, and it kind of put them on the back pedal. They tried to put out some bombs to draw them in, and it's like, oh, drawing you in, and then blowing up some of their ships. But obviously they still outnumber them very vastly. And so some of the soldiers are suggesting, like, right, there was like one commanding officer or whatever that was like, all right, we'll sacrifice the vanguard to kind of ensure that you're protected. But Liam was offended by that. He was like, no, don't do that. It's like, your duty shouldn't be to me. It's like, he's like, I'm the evil lord. Everything here, all the money, power, and women all belong to me. Every ship here belongs to me. Every person here belongs to me. Their blood belongs to me. So you don't get, none of you, not you or you, gets to go out there and die on your own without my permission. Like, the fact is, don't try and like, don't be like them and sacrifice people. Yeah, those are my people you're sacrificing. You don't get to do that. I will make that decision. You don't get to make that unilaterally just to protect me. And I think it's interesting because if you look, Amagi smiles, and she doesn't always kind of like show that face around Liam. I don't think he really noticed it, but we, as the audience, did. So I thought that was interesting. Even though he was coming at it, he still tries to be like, yeah, I'm an evil lord. But it's like, that's a very like rousing speech thing, because it inspired a lot of people around him. And that's when he gives Amagi control of the whole armada. So he goes out in Avid and takes off. And Amagi's like, all right, now that he's going, this flagship will be the spearhead of this attack. And the other's like, whoa, we can't trust an AI. Why is she doing that? But Farah's like, my job is to protect our master. And he's no longer on this ship, so this ship doesn't serve the purpose of staying perfectly fine to protect him. If he's out there on the battlefront, this ship is another ship that can be used on the battlefront to ensure his safety. And even some of the people are like, wow, is this AI even more loyal than we are? It's like, yeah, she is. So, but you got to give it up to Liam, going steadfast on his own, laying it down, pulling out, like, at one point he's pulling out like those laser guns, even like dual wielding it at one point. He faced off against a swordsman who calls out the way of the Flash being complete and utter BS. But Liam's, he's sipping that copium. To him, it's not even copium. It's just, no, this is real. How dare you besmirch the sword style I trained in, that my master taught me. Don't ever besmirch his name. So he's like, I'm going to work to make sure the way of the Flash is known throughout. And he immediately kills the guy. He's like, whoa, I shouldn't have done that. I need to keep witnesses alive so they can spread the word about the way of the Flash. And, it's like, there's no legend if no one's around to talk about it. So he's even suggesting, like, maybe I'll beat them up a little bit, let them be beaten up enough that when they scamper away at the end of it all, there's some survivors. But yeah, uses the way of the Flash. And at first I was almost like, is there really going to be no limit to you doing this? But eventually it starts wearing down Ovid's equipment because it's putting too much of a strain on his arm. Okay, because like if we were dealing with like RPG or standards, it'd be like, okay, you're burning away either your stamina or your MP doing that. Most likely, specifically, RPGs, very specifically JRPGs, we'd be dealing with like you're burning away your MP points to keep using because I was like, man, he keeps doing it back to back, and I thought it was going to be limitless, but it's like, no, of course it'd be putting a strain on Ovid. And now there's more robots attacking. Some of the armoring got destroyed. I think it was like some of the shielding got destroyed. The sword got destroyed. But then it's like, I don't care. I'll do it with my bare hands if I have to. No one's going to stop me. And then luckily get some reinforcements, not only from like the battleships and some of the other mobile knights that were disposited, but it's still like, nah, that's still not enough. He gets backed up by Christiana and her people. And it's so interesting, and I think it was there in episode 1, but Christiana's like love for Liam is interesting. But I mean, obviously he's her savior in her eyes, so it's like she's going to devote herself wholeheartedly. It's interesting because like her like being like giddy about like, oh my God, like I'm not letting them suffer. I'm killing them instantly. Oh, isn't that great? And then she has this psychotic look on her face because she's getting revenge against them for what they did. I was like, oh man, that's kind of scary. Would have never expected her character to be like that. But then once again, 100% understandable considering like what those pirates did to you. This is your chance, you and the others, to get your lick back. I also love that the mobile knights that they're using, I would have just assumed Liam got those, but we find out they're actually from the 3rd weapons factory, which Neos is like, whoa, what are you doing? And the lady from 3rd weapons factory is like, well, you got to let them test it out a little bit, and if it turns out to be good, maybe you'll buy it. She's like, we have to always choose the winning side, because I love that the percentages initially it's like, okay, you're at 3.8 and it goes down to like half to like 1 point, that's not even half. I was gonna say it goes down to like 1.4 maybe, but after Christiana and them show up and after Liam does his thing, it shoots up to like 83%, which I thought that was pretty dope, his situation where he's like, it's like, well, I don't have my sword, but I'm gonna summon up the giant rocket punch arm, but then like I'm gonna equip it. Then I'm gonna have like, I don't know if that was some material floating in space that basically, or whatever it was, but it was, he pulled out a laser and had it shot and it chipped away and became a sword. The whole massive arm thing made me immediately think of like Luffy's 3rd gear. That's like when I'm thinking big arm like thing like that, kind of like a Buster arm type of thing. Like that's immediately what came to my mind was like 3rd gear, specifically like, oh God, what is it called? When it's been so long, but it's the technique when Luffy learned how to use was it hockey to basically harden his arms. It kind of distinctly reminds me of that in particular. But he swings the flash, he grabs the sword and he does another flash attack and wipes out a massive amount of the army in one fell swoop. But the problem is it was a one and done because now that arm is trash and so is the blade. So because he thought like, oh man, because he doesn't realize it's Christiana in the suit, but he's like, oh, whoever that is skilled, but I don't want anyone showing me up. So he had to kind of make a big move himself. What I was talking about earlier too is I think it's interesting because it feels like Christiana's, and I don't know if this is the right term to use in this regard with like the nature of like what her character seems like she might be going for, like her love for Liam after everything and her obsession and kind of how crazy she seems like she could be. Once again, considering the opponent you're against, of course you're going to be a little like nuts and crazy, but that damage, psychological damage, ain't going to go away, and I think that'll probably be a part of her character going forward. But I'm wondering if she's going to be like sort of yandere coded going forward. I kind of got that vibe, but that's why I'm like, I don't know if that's the right wording, but like that kind of psychoticness, and especially like her love and being like, oh, Liam, someone like, although like that feels yandere coded, but I'm just not sure. Like I said, that might not be like the best fit, but I feel like it might be the closest fit. Once again, in the past year I've learned more about the different yanderes, like the different deres. Like the kudere is like the chilly, like ice cold personality. So I never knew the term for that was kudere. But anyway, regardless of it all, it's like now the pirates are on their back foot with Liam and them with the advantage, and now they charge forward, and that's the end of the episode. So it's going to be really interesting to see where the next episode takes us with this. I think we're going to have the conclusion where we kill the pirates. I'm curious if Liam's going to kill Goaz, because it's like, oh, I'm going to probably take more of their ships and their treasure, but it's like, oh, you try to come after me, so I'm going to kill you, or will he give that honor to Christiana, because he'll probably meet with her on, face to face and be like, oh, he did this to you, you deserve to do that, so. And killing his opponent like that will probably make him go like, oh yeah, I'm truly, truly an evil lord now. Because he even said like during the fight where it's like, right, you're evil people, so I don't even have to worry about holding back. Like those who are more evil than me need to be wiped out. I think it's probably a double-sided thing of, well, you're evil, so I might as well wipe you out. But also like, I'm going to wipe out all the evil competition. Once again, even though he's not evil himself, not unless we see a turn going forward, but it's just going to be, he's got his own weird definition of evil, and that evil seems to bounce off of people, and people look at him as like a gifted and gracious lord in that way. So, like I said, it's some very fascinating developments. I'm curious to see where this takes us going forward into the next episode. I believe this season, I think I looked it up, it's like 12 or 13. I think I looked it up before and I can't remember. I thought I looked it up, but when I did a quick Google just now, I'm not seeing anything, but I swear I looked it up before and it was 12. Maybe I mentioned that in a previous episode. I don't know. It might not be fully known, but I'd assume like 12 or 13. Not unless it goes beyond that, but I'd assume 12 or 13. The next episode's 11, so we are reaching the end of the season. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be how they wrap up the season or not, or will some like collision course with the guide end up being how this all works out, comes to an end. I don't know. I'm curious. Obviously, the light novel's still ongoing, so I highly, highly doubt we're adapting everything from that, so even what's already like published, I doubt we're probably only scratching like maybe like a third of probably what's out, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, like I said, we'll just have to wait to see where the next episode goes and what that sets up beyond that, whether the episode 12 is the season finale or whether that ends up being the penultimate episode. But either way, that's really all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.